century ago, the traditional modes of transport in Ceylon were the horse-drawn carriages and bullock carts, traveling between villages and even to far-off places. The bullock carts and horse-drawn carriages served as the wedding vehicle, the cab to do your marketing, and the heavy vehicle to transport stones, sand and timber for construction and produce between the farm gate and the marketplace. All this changed in 1902 when Sir Edgar Mooney imported the first kerosene-powered car, and 2 years later, Sir G.C. Knapp imported the Oldsmobile, making it the first petrol car to stroll the streets of Colombo. Motoring not only revolutionized transport in the island, it influenced the growth of the economy, changed existing social conditions, and linked together the hitherto disparate urban and rural sectors of the country. Having used many European vehicles up until the early 1960s, the late Kamal Punchiheva, through his family company, United Motors, pioneered the automobile assembling in Sri Lanka. United Motors then launched the first ever Sri Lankan manufactured Jeep and Mitsubishi Colt in 1967. Popular Sri Lankan entrepreneur Upali Vijayawardena began the assembly of the Upali Mazda and Fiat at the Upali Motor Company plant in Homagama, commercializing the automobile industry in Sri Lanka in 1970. The success of these two Sri Lankans, however, was short-lived. The domestic assembling and manufacturing industry experienced a massive downfall of 40 long years due to unstable and inconsistent policy that gave way to a rapid increase in the importation of vehicles. During this period, countries such as India, Thailand, Malaysia, Pakistan and Bangladesh ventured into assembly of vehicles. India, standing as one of the strongest players in the world today, manufactured the very popular Hindustan Ambassador in 1956. Today, India's automobile turnover is $57 billion with an export market of $15.16 billion. India is expected to be the world's third largest automobile market in terms of volume by 2026. Giving much recognition to Southeast Asia, Thailand became the second South Asian country to commence assembling and manufacturing in 1961. Today, Thailand has surpassed Belgium, United Kingdom and Italy with an annual output of 2 million vehicles. The automobile industry in Malaysia currently consists of 27 vehicle producers and over 640 component manufacturers. The Malaysian automobile industry is the third largest in Southeast Asia with an annual production output of over 500,000 vehicles. Pakistan enjoys 3,200 automobile manufacturing plants in the country with an investment of $870 million, producing 1.8 million motorcycles and 200,000 vehicles annually. In February 2010, Japanese car manufacturer Mitsubishi officially proposed to the Bangladesh government to locally assemble the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport in collaboration with Pragoti, the founders of the automobile industry, in 1966. Despite the rapid growth in neighboring countries, fueled by industry-friendly government policies, many local assemblers and component manufacturers in Sri Lanka didn't give up hope. In 1996, the first conveyorized vehicle assembly line of David Pierce Motor Company was commissioned at its facilities complex in Piliantala. followed by the second conveyorized vehicle assembly line for motorcycles in 2003. The year 2001 saw Microcars Limited, a company incorporated in 1995, launch a completely Sri Lankan designed and manufactured vehicle, Privilege. The company reached greater heights with a partnership with Seongyang of Korea in 2008 and Geely International in 2010. Since 2014, micro vehicles are assembled at the only automated plant equipped with the most advanced state-of-the-art machinery at the Export Processing Zone in Polgavila. In 2009, Unimo Enterprises Limited opened a local assembly facility at the Urukodavatta Workshop Complex to assemble the Zotti Nomad SUV. 2019 saw Mahindra Ideal Lanka Limited, a joint venture between Ideal Group and Mahindra of India, begin the assembly of the Mahindra Compact SUV KUV100 at its plant in Velipanna with a target of 5,000 units per annum. The efforts of these companies are a true reflection to the hard work put in to restore the automobile industry in Sri Lanka. With many more component manufacturers in line, the automobile component manufacturers industry in Sri Lanka consists of 15 sectors, ranging from tires, batteries, rubber components, exhaust systems, seats, metal and plastic components, with the opportunity to expand further. The Auto Group International Private Limited, Kapla Motors Private Limited, Nevop Corporation Private Limited, Ideal Auto Seating Private Limited, Siat Kalani Holdings Private Limited, Impria Holdings Private Limited, FRP Technologies Private Limited, Autofoam Private Limited, Accolade Engineering Private Limited, Hubert and Anthony and Sons Private Limited, Leader Kaijay Battery Private Limited, Dutch Lanka Trailer Manufacturers Limited, Associated Motorways Manufacturing, Brown's Thermal Engineering, Klinko Rubber Molding Private Limited, Dynamic Technologies Private Limited, Lanka Harness Private Limited, Modicon Automotive Private Limited, MV Electronic Private Limited, St. Anne's Rubber Goods, Tantri Traders Private Limited and Aerostar Private Limited are some of the Sri Lankan component manufacturers geared to transform the automotive industry. The global automotive industry is a key sector of the economy. For every major country in the world, the industry makes 60 million cars and trucks a year and employs 4 million people directly and many more indirectly. It is with great pride and joy that we launch the standard operating procedure for the assembly of automobile and manufacturing of automobile components in Sri Lanka. This is a clear-cut policy that commits both the government and the private sector for a consistent framework that will encourage local assembly and attract foreign investments. The SOP framework will pave the way to generate 45,000 direct and indirect jobs within the next 2 to 3 years, accelerating technology transfers and increasing exports, marking a new beginning of endless possibilities for public-private partnerships and the industrial and export sectors. The SOP framework will enforce the standardization of assembly and manufacturing opportunity to export, economic and revenue growth to the country with an average of $1 billion per year, development of the skill set of our current workforce with certifications from NAITA, German Tech and many other certified technical institutes, signaling a new era for local automobile assemblers and component manufacturers. The Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Vehicle Regulation, Bus Transport Services, Train Compartments and Motorcar Industry, Sri Lanka Customs, Department of Motor Traffic, Industrial Development Board, Board of Investments of Sri Lanka, Export Development Board, Sri Lanka Automobile Component Manufacturers Association, Sri Lanka Automobile Assemblers Association, University of Moratuwa, and Ceylon German Technical Training Institute today opens the door for many vistas of prosperity and splendor. Let us pledge to build a globally competitive automobile industrial sector in Sri Lanka, driven by a vibrant commercial environment.